the average Aussie will lose $200,000 in super by 67. Not from a crash, from 5 dumb mistakes you can fix this weekend. Leave even one unfixed, and you're giving your fund free money for decades. Your super is losing money right now, and you have no idea. A fee gap that eats $100,000. The safe option? $158,000 gone. A tax bomb. $160,000 from your kids. Why doesn't your fund tell you? They profit when you don't look. 4 million Aussies are making at least one of these right now. Number 5, that's the one that'll make you sick. Mistake number 1, fees. Last year, Aussies paid $34 billion in super fees. Billion. With a B. And most people have never compared what their fund charges. Think about that. You'll spend 10 minutes comparing phone plans, but you've never looked at the fee eating your retirement. The average super fund takes about 1.1% a year. A low-cost index fund charges around 0.3. That gap is roughly 0.5%. Doesn't sound like much. But the Productivity Commission found that a 0.5% fee difference wipes $100,000 off your retirement balance. That's not my opinion. That's a government report. $100,000. From a fee you probably didn't even know you were paying. And if you're in one of the older retail funds charging 1.5%, the gap blows out to a full percent. Over 35 years on average wages, that's $150,000 to $200,000 you'll never see. Not because the market tanked, because your fund charged more for doing the same thing, same market, same returns before fees. Completely different outcome. 2 people, same job, same salary. One retires with $200,000 more. The fix takes 10 minutes. Go to your fund's website, look for total fees as a percentage. If it's above 0.7, start shopping. Host Plus, indexed balanced. Australian Super, Vanguard Super, all under 0.5%. Fees are the mistake everyone talks about. The next one costs more and almost nobody knows they're making it. Mistake number 2, your investment option. Most Australians picked theirs when they started their first job. Ticked a box. Never thought about it again? This is probably the most expensive decision you never actually made. Here's a real number. $100,000 put into a median balanced super fund 16 years ago is now worth $305,000. That same $100,000 in a cash option, $146,000. The safe option cost you $158,000. The thing that felt safe was the single most expensive choice in your super account. And this isn't rare. 6.2 million Australians have no idea whether their fund is even performing well. APRA runs a performance test every year. Most people have never heard of it. Your fund could be failing right now, and you wouldn't know unless you looked it up. If you're under 50 and sitting in a conservative or cash option, you still have decades of compounding ahead. The difference between growth at 8% and conservative at 5% on $100,000 over 30 years is more than $400,000. That's not a rounding error. That's a house deposit in most of this country, and you don't need to be a trader. You just need to not be in cash. Check your investment option today. If it says conservative or cash and you're under 50, you need an actual reason to be there. And it feels safe is not a reason. It's a cost. Now those two will stop the bleeding. But the next one is the only mistake that actually makes you richer, and the maths on this one is insane. Mistake number 3. 0 voluntary contributions. The super guarantee hit 12% last July. That's the ceiling. No more legislated increases. And from the 1st of July 2026, payday super kicks in, meaning employers pay within 7 days instead of quarterly. But 12% alone is not enough. The ASFA Comfortable Retirement Standard just hit an all-time high. $630,000 for a single person, $730,000 for a couple, both assuming you own your home. The average super balance at age 60 to 64, $350,000 for women, $450,000 for men, both massively short, and the median across all Australians, $60,000. That's the middle. Half of all Australians have less than that. Nowhere near enough, but here's the move. The concessional contribution cap goes up to $32,500 from July 2026, and super contributions are taxed at 15% instead of your marginal rate. If you earn $120,000, you save 24 cents on every dollar you salary sacrifice. Picture this. You put in an extra $50 a week. That's one Friday dinner out. At 7% returns over 30 years, that $50 a week turns into $250,000. $250,000 from skipping one dinner a week. And because it's pre-tax, the real hit to your take-home is closer to $35 for a $250,000 payoff. But none of that extra money matters if it's sitting in an account you forgot exists. And the government says there's a 50-50 chance it is. Mistake number 4. Multiple accounts. $21.5 billion in lost super is sitting in 7.3 million forgotten accounts across Australia right now. 4 million Australians have more than one super account, and every one of those accounts has its own admin fees and its own insurance premiums. The average insurance cost inside super is about $1,500 to $2,000 a year. Double or triple that across forgotten accounts, and you're burning $3,000 to $6,000 a year on cover you don't need. Over a 30-year career, those unnecessary premiums alone cost about $65,000 in lost retirement savings, including the returns that money would have earned. The ATO has already reunited 3.1 million accounts worth $5.5 billion since 2022. Some people found hundreds of thousands they didn't know existed. Log into myGov, go to ATO online. Every super account linked to your tax file number shows up. Pick your best fund, roll the rest into it. But there's one more mistake, and this one doesn't cost you a cent while you're alive. It costs your family after you're gone. Mistake number 5. No beneficiary nomination. Without a valid binding nomination, your super fund's trustee decides who gets your money. Not you, not your will. The trustee. A non-binding nomination? Just a suggestion. They can override it completely. Your will doesn't cover super either. Most people assume it does. It doesn't. And here's where the maths gets brutal. If your super gets paid to a non-dependent adult child, the ATO takes up to 32%. On a $500,000 balance, that's up to $160,000 in tax your kids pay, versus zero if it goes to a spouse or dependent. Most binding nominations expire after 3 years. If you set one up back in 2023, it could already be gone. You'd never know unless you checked. Log into your fund. Set a binding non-lapsing nomination. Name your dependents, because if you don't, the ATO takes $160,000 from your family. 5 leaks, all fixable before Sunday. Super is the single biggest wealth tool you'll ever have. Not property, not stocks, super. Because it compounds tax-free for decades while you do nothing, but only if you stop the leaks. Almost nobody does this. That's why the average balance at 60 is $350,000 when you need $630. The gap isn't knowledge, it's action. Subscribe, because next I'm breaking down exactly what to do with your super once you've plugged these leaks.